Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take another look at the instructor library. We are going to explore two projects. One is a fantasy game. We are going to use instructor and function calling to generate fantasy characters and create a game where they battle against one another until there is only one winner. We are also going to build an email classifier which takes in emails and then classifies them into categories, also extracts all the necessary information from the email such as the sender, recipient, and then creates JSON objects with it. Instructor is a great library. It's structured extraction in Python, powered by OpenAI's function calling API, designed for simplicity, transparency, and control. I have made another video on this. You can find this on my website, echohive.live. If you just search for instructor, this is another video I made. But let's get right into it. Code files for this project is available at Patreon. Link will be in the description. Instructor is a great library which allows you to patch the standard OpenAI library and then use Pydantic models to define your JSON schemas for function definition. And it also handles everything else with this response model. So all you have to do is define your models and then you get Pydantic objects in return. Let's run this code and see what's happening while it's running. So I've deleted the characters.json. And we're going to make calls with these Pydantic models converting them to instructors, OpenAI schemas. And we are generating the characters. Here we go. The characters are generated. I'm generating 5 of them, but you can modify to generate any number of them. And then we start the battles. We pick 2 characters out of this battle and we send them to GPT. And then GPT decides what happens during the battle. Their stats are updated. And then some characters are eliminated depending on how GPT decides. And then the battle goes on until there is only one winner. We are using 3.5. That's why it sometimes creates the same names for characters. You can actually go ahead and change them yourself and modify it in the code. There's only 2 characters remaining. And here we go. And Aragorn was the winner out of these 2. And you can read the details of each character in this JSON file, which was created by GPT with the help of instructor. Our second example, which is email classifier, is going to take in a list of emails. These are GPT-generated sample emails that are business related. And we are going to use a classifier to classify it into each one into finance, HR, IT support management, or other one of these categories. And we're also going to attempt to extract sender, recipient, subject, body, and category. So we will process these using GPT with the help of instructor and convert them into these along with their categorization. So let's begin by reviewing the code. Maybe we'll begin with the email classifier since that's a simpler script. Like I said, the code files will be available at Patreon. Link will be in the description. So let's start with the email classifier. We are importing some methods and classes from Pydantic. And to get a better understanding, do take a look at the first instructor video and just read a little bit about Pydantic. It's a great library for defining data models and also for validation. Okay, so we are importing also the sample emails from our sample emails list, which is in a separate Python file. So we are importing sample emails from sample emails. And before I continue, I just want to mention that these are the libraries which we are using. If you only pip install instructor, it will also install OpenAI and Pydantic, but here is the version numbers I'm using. We are also using term color or colorful printing in the terminal. So we have imported our sample emails. We are importing OpenAI, instructor, OS, and JSON, and then we are using instructor.patch, and we are actually patching this OpenAI library, and we are inserting our API keys here, either from our environment variables, or you can insert your API key directly here. So we're going to define 2 Pydantic classes. One is email category, the other one is work email. So if I open the work email, you see we are using the base model from Pydantic, and we are defining the sender, recipient, subject as strings. Okay, and body is optional string, but it can be none. And category is going to be email category. And this email category actually is coming from this class. So category can be one of these options. And to be able to do this and to make sure that only this type of categories are returned, we use the enum from Pydantic. And we define what each one is going to look like. And then once we define this email category class, now we can use it in work email. So once we define these 2 classes, now we are actually done by defining our schema. Because we have imported sample emails, I'm just assigning it, although you probably don't have to do that. And then we are creating an email classifier class. We're going to initialize it with a client, which is going to be this client, and then the model name, which we are going to enter when we are running it. and we're going to initialize this, instantiate it with the client and the GPT 3.5 Turbo. You can change the model. And basically, we just have a method under this classifier class, which is going to take in an email, and it's just making a call to GPT. And we are defining that. It's going to be our classification. Now, the only thing that we need to do here is, because we have patched it with instructor, we just have to enter the response model as our Pydantic class. And remember, our main Pydantic class or schema was work email. So all we have to do is just enter that here. And then we are done. Now we actually we have given the schema, and instructor should take care of the rest for us. We do have our messages. We do say your task is to classify email into one of the categories. You don't even have to say that. The more instructions and information you give it, the better. Please return all possible fields, and then we simply input the email. And then we return the classification, but then we do a model.dump to convert it into a JSON-like format. Otherwise, you will end up with a Pydantic class, which you can also choose to deal with any way you like. Then we are instantiating this class. We start a categorized email empty list, and then we simply loop over all our sample emails. Here I am only using 5 of it, but if we were to do it like this or remove the index slicing, then you can use all 30 emails, which I have over here. And after that, all we have to do is just call the classifier.classify email method with the email, and then we get a category. You can actually name it somewhat better. And we just print part of the email saying how it was classified. When you actually run this, you get something like this. This is just for information purposes. And then we create a dictionary. Sender is going to be category sender key, and then the recipient is going to be categories recipient, and then subject, body, and finally category. And then we append it to our empty list as email dictionary, and then we simply JSON.dump it with nice indentation, and this is what we end up with. These are the outputs that are returned by GPT based on the instructor schema we have provided using Pydantic. I also do an exclusive Pydantic deep dive at my Patreon. If you are a patron, just search for instructor in the search bar, and you can see the instructor exclusive deep dive with more complex examples as well. Also, check out my new website called ecohive.app. Codehive.app has 900 plus Python applications. These are chat applications powered by GPT. You can just browse it or search for the type of application you're looking for, and then you can simply copy and you try to use the code. You can also download all of the apps from Patreon. It's currently for $100. Now let's take a look at the fantasy game. Again, we are importing all our necessary libraries and stuff from Pydantic. Do look into Pydantic's documentation or have a chat with GPT about it. It's really interesting. The more you look into it, I think the more you'll love it. We're going to define quite a lot of classes like the weapon, armor, skill, and a fantasy character, which is going to bring everything together, right? Here we are generating a name, race, character class, level, health, strength, all of that, and we are going to actually insert the weapons, armors, and skills as a list, but we are going to use these classes which we have defined. And we also have an eliminated option, which is a bool. This can be true or false, depending on if that character is still in the game or not. And we are also trying to put an identification here. I am telling GPT, so these descriptions, field descriptors from Pydantic will actually populate the function definition. So I'm asking it to choose a random number between 0 and a large number in the hopes that it will actually create some random identifiers so that we can actually use them to identify these characters as we are battling them against one another. Let's take a look at the weapons. So we are all using the base model from Pydantic for this. So the weapon will have a name, type, and damage. Armor is going to have a name, type, and defense. And skill is going to have name and proficiency. So when we say that this fantasy character schema is going to have all these options plus a list of weapons, that means that this character can have more than one weapon defined like this, and more than one armor, and more than one skill. This is what this list means. So once we have defined our schema, this is the main schema we're going to use. This is where all of these other definitions or the schemas have come together, right? Then we also have another Pydantic class called dual results, which includes the brief description of battle as a string, and the winner and the loser, which we are using the fantasy character for that. So meaning we're going to get to it, but when the duel happens, we want GPT to return a brief description of the battle and then return the entire stats of the winner and the loser again. After that, we have the character generator. Again, we're initializing it with client and the model name. So to generate characters is actually going to use a GPT call. We are generating a random seed by using the random module from Python so that we can actually use the seed parameter of the chat.completions. I try to do this so that I was hoping that we will get more varied character definitions, even though the names sometimes still duplicate. Anyway, we're just making a call. Again, we are using the response model here, fantasy character, because that's our definition of a fantasy character. And then we are entering the random seed, which we will have generated from this line. And then we simply ask generate a random fantasy character, return all necessary fields. And then when this is returned, we do the model dump. And then we have another method that's called generate and save character. This is going to take in a number of characters in our case, and then it's going to be a number which we will be calling in a file name, and we are going to use the thread pool executor, which we are importing here. We're importing the concurrent futures, so we can use the thread pool executor from concurrent futures, and we are going to submit this generate characters method again and again for as many characters as we have, and as they become completed, we are going to create a list with them. Now we're going to print an informative statement and then save them to file, which is going to create this JSON file with all our characters and their stats. Our next method, which is a static method, is the load characters, which simply just opens that file and returns the characters. Next method is the dual method. Now that we have generated our characters and then saved them to file, we can load those characters and then we can start a dual. This is going to take character 1 and character 2. We have an informative printing statement of which characters are dueling, and then we define the dual again with the response model dual results. If you remember, now this is going to become relevant. This GPT call is going to generate via function call brief description of battle and a winner and loser stats. Why is this going to happen? Because the fantasy character we have defined here, so GPT is going to return this entire updated stats for the character. We again using a random seed, or just trying out to try to get varied results. We do get a random seed and we use it here. And then our system messages, your task is to simulate a battle between two fantasy characters. Always return a brief description of the battle and the winner and loser. And then just get some information about them. And then we give the information dual between the first character. This is going to be the stats. And this is going to be the stats for the next character. Please return the brief battle description and the winner and loser. And then we get that when we return dual.modelDump. And then we have a method which is going to update the characters. One by one, we're going to have the characters list, and then we're going to look for the character by the ID, and then we're going to update its stats. Then we instantiate our generator, and then we check if characters.json file doesn't exist, we create it. So otherwise, we already have it. If you delete this file, then that line will run and create the characters, calling the generate and save characters method. Then we load the characters with the load characters, and then we initialize the battle number to 1, and we make sure that as long as our character, we have more than one character, then we print that a battle is happening, and then we assign the characters 1 and character 2 by sampling from the characters list, 2 of them, by using random.sample, and then we get the battle results by running the generator's dual method with both of those characters, and then we print the brief description of the battle, and then each of our characters is going to be returned as the battle results winner and the battle results loser. And now we're going to take that and we are going to update its stats, also print its health. And now we're going to call the update character method on the character using the characters list. And then we update the characters list for each character as long as they do not eliminate it. Because in our identic object, remember, we had the eliminated option. So we are taking away the characters who are eliminated if this has been returned true by GPT. And then we increment the battle number. Let's run this again to see how it works one more time. But before I do want to mention my Everything GPT API course, which covers everything from Assistance API to DALL-E to text-to-speech to OpenAI's new library, each one of them with the file and related video options to explain more of it. You can find the description, and you can find the link in the description, and it looks like this. If you become a patron, you'll be able to download all of them and learn at your own pace. Now let's finally run this again. I'm going to delete again the characters.json and then run this file. So we are going to see that we will be first creating the characters. They are being generated simultaneously using thread pool executor. And right after that, we can review our characters at this characters.json, and our battles have initialized. The first battle, here is the description, what happened, and then the characters update. And if GPT decides that one of the characters eliminated, then we will see that character numbers are being reduced. This time, took a lot of fighting for somebody to drop, but now we have 4 characters remaining. I did instruct GPT to say that if a character is health 0, then they're eliminated, but sometimes it doesn't follow it because we are using 3.5. And at the end, okay, Aragorn had come up as the winner. And you can definitely modify the code to make it better suit your purpose. I just wanted to outline how even super complex stuff can be actually created with Instructor. I hope this was informative. Please do let me know in the comments what you think, or if you like to talk about large language models, please check out our Discord. Link will be in the description. Also, if you're considering becoming a patron, or if you just enjoy the type of content I generate, you can visit my website at ecohive.live and browse through all the videos I've created. It also has a very convenient search function. You can read the descriptions, watch the videos right here if you like. They're all YouTube videos. And if you're a patron, you can click on the code download link for any one of them, and you should be able to download. I have over 170 projects at my Patreon and 200 plus free videos which you can watch. Also, take a look at the codehive.app. Let me know what you think. This is entirely free. There is a 10 app clicks a day limit. But the idea here was for you to find some inspiration, maybe even some business ideas. They are entirely AI generated as well. If you like the content, please give it a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.